So in this video, I'm just going to show how I would grade or figure out where I needed to dredge some water that's under 6 meters in depth or above 6 meters. So I want to get rid of some material in the channel in order to allow boats to pass, or maybe dragons or mermaids or whatever. So I have this polyline, which I'm assuming is the path. And so I just want to go ahead and create an alignment from that object. And then I really don't care about direction, so I'll just go ahead and hit OK. And I'll just call this path. I don't need to add curves, and I'll go ahead and erase it. And then I'm just going to use 10 plus 0, 0, 0 for my starting station, then hit OK. So that gives me a path that I can grade from. So I want to go ahead and create a surface profile, and that's going to be the seabed surface, and I'll go ahead and add that. And then I want to draw it in a profile view. And then for my style for this, I just want to pick something with no grids on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and edit my style and go ahead and turn off the internal grids. And I'll go ahead and create my profile view. And here I have my seabed. On my seabed, I then want to include a profile that is my excavation depth. So I'm going to go ahead and create a profile. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I'm going to go ahead and create one for the entire length of my alignment. And you can see right now it's at the wrong elevation. So I'll go ahead and select this. And I'll come over here and just change this to -6, which is the value that I want. And now my profile gives me the elevation that I want to grade to. If I was doing this in my real job, I would then want to maybe hatch this so it's obvious where those areas occur. To do that, you can just go into the profile view properties. And I can do the cut areas. And so my upper boundary is going to be the seabed surface. So that's going to be this profile right here. And then my lower boundary is going to be the profile that I just created. And so since over here they are correct, but if they weren't, you could go ahead and select which ones you want. It's going to use the shape style of cut material, but you could change it to whatever value that you needed it to be. And then hit OK. And so now I have a graphical representation of where those areas occur, and I could then figure out what areas that is. So now I want to figure out, do a design for figure out where this is located at. Maybe I'm just going to assume 10 meters to the left and 10 meters to the left and to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assembly. I'm going to call it grading and hit OK. And then just pick a point somewhere in the drawing. And so now I have my assembly. So I want to go to my tool palettes, and I'm just going to do generic for length, width, and slope. And so I'm going to go 10 meters to the right at 0 degrees or 0% slope, and then do the same thing for the left side. And then I could also create a link or daylight. And I'm just going to do minimum width. And I'm just going to keep the defaults. And so I'm going to start on the left and then do one on the right. If I was worried about not having this link in fill, there's some conditional cut or fill that you can use, and then it won't apply it. And you could also do it here. So if it's not in cut or in fill, you could then have an option here. Do nothing if you don't need the corridor, or doing grading, or have it do something like that. I might also do that. And so this is going to be in cut. So I'll go ahead and add that one here. And then I'll do the same thing on the left side. And then I can move all of this. And so that's giving me a general area of where I need to go. So now that I have an alignment, which is the path, I have my profile, which is going to be this object here. And I have my assembly, which is going to be my building instructions. I can then build my corridor. So to create the corridor, I'll come up here to corridor. And I'll just call it dredging. I probably spelled that wrong, but that's all right. So I'll do my alignment as path, my profile, and then my assembly, which is the only one in the drawing. And then I'll set my seabed surface as my target surface. And then hit OK. My alignment doesn't start within the grading, so I'll just go ahead and come down here and just kind of pick a station that's kind of close to it. And then do the same thing over here. Just kind of pick a station. And then I can make sure my target's all set. So here's my conditional cut or fill, and then my daylight minimum width. If I had like a meandering drain or a meandering path that I needed to dredge, I could use the link width and slope targets to have a variable width instead of the 10 meters. So I'll hit OK. And then I'll create a surface by going into the corridor properties. And if you don't have anything, that just indicates that for some reason I'm not getting cut or fill anywhere within it. But that shouldn't be the case, because I know there should be some in there. So it looks like my station values got messed up over here on parameters. Yeah. So here I went to the wrong end accidentally. So this station value should have been this one up here. So now that makes more sense. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. And so now I should be able to go in and create a surface. So I'll go ahead and select the dredging, hit the little plus to add top. I like to add it as a break line and then do top links because it's going to represent the top. And then for the boundaries, I can right click and add the corridor extents outer boundary. And then I'll hit OK. And so wherever that area is for the corridor, so here's where I need to start dredging over here. And then it continues on over here. And it ends up there. I think there should be like a... Nope. And so that's the area where I start to need to do the dredging. So that should correspond to the area over here. For the corridor as outer extents, yeah, that should be... Yeah, so there's the gap within it. So the corridor outer extents, it doesn't always like trim it correctly. So you can see like I have a big range over here. I'm going to go ahead and change this. To be border only. So here's where my corridor is, but I have a big gap in between them. Civil 3D sucks because it doesn't know where the surface is. And so here, I can go ahead and edit the surface and delete these lines. But the first thing I need to do is make sure that the triangles are being shown. And then I can delete the line. And so now it just goes from where the 6 meters is. I could look at the cross sections. By selecting the corridor, right-clicking, and go to Corridor Section Editor. And so here I can see on my bottom, and then it goes up 4 to 1. And you can use the arrows to go between sections. You can also hit this little like pick button and pick a station value. Here there's no corridor. And so I could select the button again and go to a section that has it showing up. If I then want to get my volumes, I can go ahead and right-click and create a surface. Select the tin volume surface. I can select my base surface, which is going to be the seabed, and then select my dredging. And then change the style to be elevations, banding, hit OK, and then hit OK. And then I can see where the colors are. If I want to change the colors, I can go into the surface properties, go to the Analysis tab, select elevations from the list, select how many ranges I want, and then hit the little arrow button to add those. And then you can click and change the colors to be whatever you wanted. So if you wanted different colors, you could go ahead and select what color you wanted to use. If you then want a table, you can go to the Annotate tab, use the Add Tables dropdown, select Add Surface Legend Table, select the surface, select what type, dynamic or static. I prefer dynamic. And now you have what those elevations are, the area, and then what the colors represent. And so if I was tasked with figuring out where I needed to dredge to get a minimum of 6 meters, this is the way I would do it. And that's how I would do it.